This is Target Score Weekly with Joey Slattery and Taylor Allen. Welcome into another edition of Target Score Weekly. I'm Joey Slattery. That's Taylor Allen. And a ton has happened since our last episode. We've had the CEBL draft, which brought another player, kind of went as we expected, and a huge signing, which, Taylor, I have to say, you called it.
Well, I think everyone kind of saw it coming with Jared Ogabemi-Jackson signing with his hometown Sea Bears, especially after, he left his club team in Belarus, still with a couple of games remaining with the schedule. They were knocked out of the playoff race, but still. But before we get into that, though, congrats to us because we have survived the offseason. From now until tip-off next month, there's going to be lots to talk about. We got past some of those weeks where there really wasn't much to talk about CEBL-wise, Sea Bears-wise, but things are really ramping up, already fallen behind. Last week with the draft, now with Jared signing with the Sea Bears, lots to talk about now. So kudos to us. Now we're in the thick of it, the good stuff here with the season. But
right, we went from like target score kind of weekly to now we might be able to have target score daily, maybe hourly at this point.
Exactly. But yeah, we've talked about Jared, a couple times, in the past year, really. But to add a guy who really checks basically all the boxes. You get the hometown guy who's a guy you could easily market, and they're already doing that. They're already pumping out these cool videos on social media, him talking about waking up at 5 a.m. and hopping on a bus to get to Garden City first thing in the morning to be shooing around before school starts and all that stuff. So that's awesome, right? And the fact that he's going to be actually in the starting lineup, I would imagine in the starting lineup. I can't see any way he's not in the starting lineup. That's going to be a cool thing for Winnipeg basketball fans to see as well. And then, just the talent and the experience and the leadership that he brings to this team. Doesn't matter what city he's from. It's a massive pickup. Like, here's a guy who's played 9 years of pro basketball overseas. And we're not talking, Div 6 in Kazakhstan. Like, he's played in some really high level leagues. The league he was just in, it's a Russian league, but he's with the lone Belarus team. He was top 3 in scoring in the league. He's playing against some former NBA guys in that league. Some people say that's one of the top 5 leagues in the world. And here's this guy from Winnipeg killing it over there. So to add him to the Sea Bears is massive, especially again as a Canadian talent. So kudos to them. That's probably the biggest pickup of the season next to Teddy Allen, obviously.
Yeah, it was probably the worst kept secret in Manitoba basketball, but that was a good thing because it was cool to see the hype, right? As they were announcing and teasing the announcement, the Sea Bears, people wanting Jared, right, and asking for him. Some people thought it might be EJ or EJ Anasike or Jelani Watson Gale,
yeah.
But they're not coming. That's that they're out doing their thing, and they're not from Winnipeg. They said it was a hometown thing. I think everybody was real excited to see that it was Jared. And no, you're right. This is a guy that's played all over the place, and it's not often you get someone from to come to the hometown team anywhere in Canada. The Toronto's, Vancouver's included, Montreal's included. This is a very unique situation where you get a top tier point guard coming to your team, and a true point guard at that, right? Last year, Glenn Yang played it, but a guy that's not a true point guard, forced into that position, and then they were forced to play some gymnastics when it came to their roster, their lineup on the court because of the Canadian rule. And now you've got someone who can handle the ball, who can score the ball, and has done it against the best. So I think it's huge. And another person that's added to the team is our guest this week, Shawn Maranan. Shawn Maranan, a standout at UW. He was a standout in Canada West in U Sports. Back-to-back nationals appearances for the Wesmen led by Shawn Maranan. And we were pretty sure that was going to be the pick, right? That third I think that third round of the draft was a huge gift for the Sea Bears because they were able to get the same guys last year. Hildebrandt went in the first round, and Tyler Sago went in the second round, and then that third round allowed Moran. So no real tough decisions, I don't think, for Mike Taylor. He got all the U Sports guys that he wants, and what was a pretty stacked U Sports draft this year. Looking at the reports around the league, there's a lot of hype around a lot of these teams, and I think Winnipeg's right there. You get the 2 local boys that have been stars at the level they've been. Hildebrand had a breakout season last year in his CEBL rookie season as the CEBL Youth Sports Player of the Year. You throw in Shawn Moran in there, I think Moran's going to have a great opportunity now to see what he could do at the pro level. Because he's stood out at the U Sports level, but I think that only elevating the talent around him is going to make him better. I'm curious to see what he's capable of doing. With professionals around him that he might not be able to do regularly at the U Sports level. I'm really excited to see what he could do.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is, I mean, after that press conference with Jared the other day, you and I were both there. There were three reporters there. Joey and I were two of them. So there you go. We got our boots on the ground. We're covering this team. But anyways, after we spoke to Jared, we spoke to him for probably 16 or so minutes. You and I stood in the lobby of the Sport for Life Center building, talking Sea Bears for probably 20, 30 minutes, talking about what is Mike Taylor going to do, because in a good way, because they have so much Canadian talent, where last year, let's be honest, I mean, I've said this before and I'll say it again, they really lacked Canadian talent. It was that big three, EJ Anasike, Jelani Watson Gale, and Teddy Allen, that really kind of dragged that team in more games than not. Where this year they have some veteran Canadian guys like Jared Ogunbemi Jackson. I mean, last year the point guard spot was their weakest spot. Now with him in the fold, that's one of their biggest strengths, right? And then you got Alex Campbell. That's a veteran CBL player, a guy who's won a championship before, a guy who's been a playoff MVP
Yeah.
before. You add him. Then there's Mason Bercier, another great guard. He was with Vancouver last year. He's been in a couple of different spots. He's or Calgary, sorry, and he's been a couple different spots in the league already. He's a guy who could shoot. He was another point guard that would be an upgrade over Glenn Yang. They have him as well. So they have so much Canadian talent that they picked up this offseason. I mean, they really made a priority to beef up their Canadian talent, and they've done that. So now it's kind of like, oh, shoot, how do you get all these guys on the floor, which is a fantastic problem to have last
Yeah.
year, where last year it was like, okay, well, we don't have too many super strong Canadians. So, hey, Simon Hildebrand, fresh off of your freshman year at the U of M, you're going to be our first guy off the bench. Where now, I mean, Simon, who knows? We don't know all the big guys that they have yet. They still have a lot of signings to announce, but it might be tough for these these U Sports guys to get on the court, because there is so many more veterans on this team, which is again obviously a good thing. But regardless of how many minutes Simon, Tyler Sagal, or Shawn Maranan get to play or not, the fact that they get to spend a whole summer with some guys who really know how to play pro basketball, guys who've been all over the world, guys who are really accomplished in the sport, it's going to be fantastic for them, and ultimately fantastic for the Bisons and Westmen when they go back there in the fall.
Well, and you mentioned that in a few episodes back when we had Simon on the podcast. How it was kind of a bit of a surprise in that first game how early he got into that game, and that really set the tone for the rest of the season, right? So I still think they're going to get their playing time. I also think this is a great situation because the next man up mentality is there's confidence behind it. It's not who's going to step up; it's who do we want to step up, really, right? I mean, if everything goes to plan on paper, this is a really strong team from the Canadian standpoint specifically. We'll see how the rest of the spots pan out after that. But yeah, I mean, this is a team that they struggled with the Canadians last year. Mike Taylor said, that is going to be the priority. He said it on the podcast that this is where he was focusing his efforts on strengthening that Canadian contingent on the team. He's done just that. And from now here on in, I mean, I don't think there's as much pressure on signing the Americans. Obviously, you want the best guys you can get, but you got Teddy Allen. That's the guy, right, in the league, not just for the team. So, I mean, now I think it's all kind of gravy from here, really. It's just a matter of filling in the spots, and you've got more freedom as a general manager of, what kind of style you want to play, what kind of guys you want to bring in, what role you need, right? Like, what are things that we weren't privy to seeing last year that needed to be addressed, right? In terms of is there things that they need in practice? A guy that's a pick me up that's gonna, run the starters a little bit harder in practice, or get the best out of these guys. Maybe get a rise out of them, things like that. So and I'm not saying that's the case, but with the roster that you have right now, you can really tailor the roles that you want on this team and try and build a championship team, because even with the struggles they had last year, what, they have the second best record in the league in the regular season, and then a disappointing playoff loss to an Edmonton team that's very experienced, and has won championships in the past. So this is the year now. You went through your first year, you did really well. Disappointed in the playoffs, but I don't think anybody was too upset about it. Just because of the excitement stirred up. But this year the expectations are on you, and I mean I think you're well equipped for it for sure. So it'll be interesting to hear from Shawn Moran a little later on in the episode, getting to know him a little bit better, the newest draft pick of the Winnipeg Sea Bears. But there's still other basketball being played as we're looking ahead to the CEBL season. We're winding down the NBA season, and I gotta say, with the playoffs here, feel real good about my Boston Celtics, Taylor Allen. Real good about my Boston Celtics, who are just decimated the league in the regular season and are poised to bring home banner 18.
Wow. Are poised to bring home banner 18. You
Banner
didn't
or
waste
bust.
you didn't waste
Banner
any
or
time.
bust.
You're going all in. Wow. I mean, I'll be honest. I despise the Celtics. I always have. I always will. I wish them nothing but pain and misery for the rest of their existence. So it kills me to say that yeah, I can't see anyone in the East knocking down the mighty Celtics. I mean, they were the first team to win a conference by 10 or more games since the 2016-17 Golden State Warriors. And that was a pretty damn good Warriors team that won the NBA title that year. The Celtics have been the cream of the crop all year, just killing teams. They've been far and away the best team in the East, in the league, really, all year round. And you look at the East right now, there's some fun, round one matchups. But I mean, Giannis is he's on the shelf, at least for the beginning of their first round series against my Indiana Pacers. So that's great for us. But I mean, Milwaukee was a team that just because of Giannis itself would be maybe a team that could maybe give the Celtics some trouble, but even then, probably not. I mean, the Damian Lillard trade has really not worked out as well as the organization thought it would. I mean, he's a big name, right? Exciting name, a guy who can score and whatever, but he can't play defense and he needs to shoot the ball about 417 times a game to really put up some of these big numbers. So that move has not paid off. And Chris Middleton battles injuries as well. So that's kind of knocked the Bucks off. And then you kind of look after that. I mean, the Knicks, great story. Jalen Brunson, of course. I mean, he's a MVP candidate and whatever.
But
But
the Knicks are the Knicks.
but the Knicks, exactly. That's moving on. The Knicks are the Knicks, right? That says everything you need to know. I mean, you just look at this East, and I don't see anyone. I don't see anyone even I don't see anyone even taking the Celtics to 7 games. I was gonna say 6 games, but that's kind of a bold
Yeah.
statement. But
I'll say this. The Atlanta Hawks have always had the number of the Celtics this year. The Indiana Pacers would be a team that scared me because
you're
it's
just
almost
saying
like,
that because I'm a
no,
Pacers
because what do you have
fan
to
here.
lose? Right? No,
You
hey,
can't play defense.
I don't hate the Indiana Pacers like you hate the Boston Celtics and me.
I
I
don't
like
hate
you. I
you.
like the Pacers. Hey, you hate the Celtics. You hate me, man. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. But no, I think the ones that you'd have to be worried about if I'm the Celtics is just making sure that like you're the favorite in every series, and you got to be careful for those young teams that being naive. What's it? Naive is bliss or whatever. Ignorance is bliss. So these teams are so naive that it's like nothing to win a playoff series, right? When you're a young team, kind of not really understanding what goes into it. Where the Celtics have been dealt heartbreak after heartbreak with this particular core, and they've been tinkering. Seems like they have as close to a perfect team as you're going to get. But the one thing that really worries me about the Celtics is their ability to close out close games. They haven't had a lot. Like they win by fair margins. And the one thing that's really hurt the Celtics this year in the games they've lost is just that. It's the 2-3 point games, winding down. I don't know who their shooter is. Do you think it would be Jason Tatum, like in terms of that last second game in my hands to win the game? And for whatever reason, when they're in close games and time's winding down, they just abandon everything that works. They try to go to ISO ball. And when it comes to Tatum particularly, he's running down too much time. And I watch a lot of Celtics basketball, obviously. So I do have a little bit more insight on this. But, here's a guy that runs down the clock to, far too much and then puts up a shot that isn't there, right? And it's not the kind of shot where it's like, oh, you're creating the step back, and it's an unbelievable shot because of how you manufactured it. It's no, he's forcing it up because he's run out of time. And you talked about Damian Lillard. I mean, it was impossible to get that guy, I think, for what the Celtics would have had to give up for him. But there's a guy I'd like to see on the Celtics, because as much as he has to put up all the shots, he's got a fair amount of clutch performances on game-winning shots that I think the Celtics can use. But that said, the Celtics should roll, and I can't see them not being in the finals. And then the finals get a little tricky. That's where, I mean, the West is so strong this year. And not only that, though, I mean, the benefit of that is whoever gets out of the West is going to be beat up. It's going to be a slugfest to get to the finals out of the West, regardless who it is. I mean,
You
that,
know what? I don't know if I buy that narrative because I mean, you could also argue that the Celtics will be on cruise control to the final, where if they play the Nuggets or the Thunder, the T Wolves, the Clippers, whoever, the Suns, Lakers, whoever, coming out of the West, that team's going to be battle tested. They've seen it all. Where the Celtics, they've been chilling, right?
fair.
So
Yeah, and
you can
that's
argue
that.
that side of it as well. So just keep that in
No,
mind. Keep that in
totally.
mind.
I totally, like, I'm just saying, like, in terms of that's almost like the hope is that they're not battle tested, they're
They're beat
battled,
up.
right?
Yeah.
Like battled, beat up. And and the deeper you go into these playoff series, I mean, guys start, like they always say, that time of year everybody's playing with something, right? And the more game sevens that you played and the more games played, the harder it is to rebound. And there's not a lot of time between these series. Like the NBA rolls, right? It's not like the NHL where they wait for every series. I mean, if there's a round two series ready to go, they'll get right into it before round one's complete with the NBA. So, but I mean, man, OKC, what a fun team to watch, right? Especially with the Canadian content. Talk about the CEBL and the Canadian contingent for the Sea Bears. I mean, you got Shea Gilgis Alexander and Lou Dort on that team. That's just unreal what they've done this year in OKC. They're a fun team to watch. Denver is Denver,
Well,
man.
OKC, youngest number one seed of all time. How
Yeah.
cool is
Well,
that?
it's like, yeah, that
So,
doesn't surprise me.
I kind of feel in a way they've already won their NBA championship this year, right? Like I think we're the number one seed. Like we weren't expecting to be number one seed. I don't care what anyone says. We're good. Like I feel
This is the
like
Celtics the
they
last few
peaked
years.
already. They
Yeah.
got something cool already there. I don't know. And you want to talk about battle tests? I mean, that's a team that doesn't have playoff experience. Obviously, Shea Gilgis
Yeah.
Alexander. I don't think he's going to have any problems in the playoffs. But the rest of that team, very young team, obviously, like I just said. I don't know if they can hang with all these kind of older teams, especially if they run into Denver in the Western Conference Final, who was literally just there last year, won the whole thing. So they're going to be a super fun team to watch. That's a team along with Minnesota who I'm really rooting for this year in the West. But yeah, just lacking that experience. I think sometimes these younger kind of hot shot teams they need to get to the playoffs, get punched in the face a couple times, then come back next year and be stronger. And I think that's probably going to be the case with OKC. But it will be cool to see how far Shea Gilgis Alexander, the face of Canadian basketball right now, can take them.
But you look at, like, when I was previewing the East, and I just said, like, oh, teams to kind of look out for that I might be worried about, the Hawks, the Pacers, whatever, like kind of just fabricating it almost. That's not the case in the West. In the West, I mean, from you look at the top 8 teams or top 6 teams, sorry, Phoenix. Phoenix is stacked. You've got Dallas. Luca alone can go off, right? You've got, who else we got? The Clippers, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George,
Well, Kawhi's hurt.
Minnesota.
Kawhi's
What's
banged up
that?
right. Kawhi's
It's
banged up
true.
right now. So
And then you got Minnesota, though, who, like you said, top 3. Like, that was an exciting team to watch. And they seem to be, for all the struggles Minnesota's had over the years trying to build this team and the trades they made, and, the whole Rudy Gobert thing didn't look like it was working out. Like, now they're dangerous with the team that they have set up. Denver's the defending champions, number 2, and then OKC. I mean, all those teams that are in there, 1 through 10 has a chance going into it. And then there's not the same in the Eastern Conference. Like, it was just so much. All that, when I say 1 through 10, I think that was the first time in league history that 1 through 10 finished above 500, meaning they beat up on a lot of Eastern Conference teams, right?
crazy.
So this is a hard Western Conference, and I think, like, if I'm Oklahoma City or Denver, I'm not sitting here thinking the 1 or 2 seed is a lock by any stretch. What might be the difference is the fact that you have home court advantage, and I think that plays a huge factor this year in the West of the seedings in terms of having that extra game at home.
Yeah, I think a first round series I'm probably most looking forward to watching is Minnesota and Phoenix.
Yeah,
I mean, the Timberwolves have been arguably the most exciting team in the league to watch this year, just basically because of Anthony Edwards. Like this guy is literally a
he's so
human
good.
highlight reel.
Yeah,
His and then he follows it up in his press conferences after the game. He's hilarious and he tells you exactly how it is. He's like he's the coolest guy ever. I love Anthony Edwards. But as a Minnesota Vikings fan, I can tell you from experience that good things do not happen to Minnesota sports teams. They never have, and they probably never will. But hopefully that does change. So as much as I, hope the T Wolves can go on a run this year, going up against KD, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Grayson Allen. Let's throw him some love. He's been really good for Phoenix this year as well. Going up against those guys round one, that's going to be tough. But I think they can still get past Phoenix. But again, I don't know. Like it's so boring because all the experts are talking about Boston versus Denver, Denver versus Boston in the NBA finals. And that was probably the finals that we should have got last year. So
yeah.
I hate just going with that. And, for a while, the NBA playoffs were so kind of boring because usually it was pretty obvious which teams are going to be in the finals. But these past couple of years, that hasn't really been the case, which has been good as opposed to those Cleveland Golden State years. But this
Mhm.
year, I think there's going to be some really fun series and whatnot leading up to the finals. But I think we could talk about this till we're blue in the face, but I think everyone kind of knows it's going to be
Let's
Denver versus Boston.
let's wrap this up. I was going to say to wrap this up before we head to our interview with Shawn Maranan. What's your finals prediction? I got Celtics in Denver.
Yeah, and I absolutely hate doing this. I take no pride in this. I get no joy out of this. And if I get this right, as long with everyone else, I'm not going to feel anything because it's like this was the easy answer. But um, I'm looking at it and I've been doing some homework, and I just don't foresee any
And you're a smart
situation.
guy. And you're a
Well,
smart
I
guy.
wouldn't.
You
I wouldn't go
you
that
you're well
far.
prepared.
I would not
Yeah.
go that far. But I just
You do
don't.
your homework.
I do my homework. I will at least give myself that. I just don't foresee any situation, especially in the East, but kind of in the West too. I just don't see any situation where Denver. I mean, they don't have Bruce Brown anymore, right? They lost him to Indiana, who then traded him to Toronto, part of that Pascal Siakam trade. So that will be something to watch because that guy was very clutch for them last year. And who knows, with Michael Porter Jr., like his brother now being banned from the NBA. That's something for him to be thinking about
Yeah.
going to this. Maybe not. I have no idea. So who knows? Maybe there's some holes in Denver. We'll see. But again, OKC's too young. Minnesota's awesome story, but they're kind of young too. And Carl Anthony Towns coming off of an injury as well. That could be tough. Clippers are banged up. Dallas has 2 players. Phoenix has 4 players. Pelicans, no. Lakers, sorry, Lakers fans, don't want to hear it, but no. So,
Love to hear it.
I think it's Denver. I think it's Boston. And once they get to that final,
Boston wins. Yeah, you're right. I
no,
agree.
don't put those dirty words in my mouth. When they get to the finals, Jokic is going to become a 2-time NBA champion, leading the Denver Nuggets to back-to-back rings. That is
What
my
what's
prediction. In
what
seven
size
games. In
shirt?
7 games.
What size shirt are you? Large?
I could squeeze into some mediums, but large to play it safe. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'll get that large Celtics championship shirt on order for you,
Cool.
just to make sure you can grow into it. I know you like to go to the gym, so give you a little space for growth. But yeah, that championship, 18th championship banner T-shirt is will be coming your way in June. Yeah, with that, let's get to our interview. Newest Sea Bear, the third-round draft pick of the Winnipeg Sea Bears and University of Winnipeg standout Shawn Maranan joins us here on Target Score Weekly. Newest member of the Sea Bears. Now you were there last year, Shawn, but what does it mean to you to kind of get this hype around it? Getting the draft and getting all the attention. What was this last week like?
It's been hectic, but nonetheless, it's been amazing. Obviously, been a huge basketball fan my whole life, and now I get to fulfill my childhood dreams of playing professionally. Not only that, to do it at home, it's you can't really put it into words.
The draft results were announced last week, but you were told ahead of time. So, what was it like for you knowing that you were picked by your hometown pro team, no longer a practice player. You're on the roster, but
Yeah.
I'm assuming you couldn't tell anyone, at least not right away.
No,
What was
no.
that like?
I was at a loss for words. But prior to when I was told, Coach Rainbow kind of kept me updated. Coach Taylor kept me updated with um, if they were going to pick me or not. But the day that they told me, um, man, I was emotional. I was excited. There were a lot of um, I was just feeling extremely happy, and to get it officially announced the other day, it's an amazing feeling for sure.
How do you find your way onto the team last year? Like I know, Mike Rainbow is your coach with the University of Winnipeg. He was an assistant last year, but how do you find your way even to the team last year?
Yeah, so last year they held a tryout. Um, it was funny because I was on vacation and Coach Rainbow was texting me and he was telling me that there was a tryout for the Sea Bears. And I told him I'm on vacation, so I don't know how that's gonna work. But luckily, I guess when I landed, just a day after was when the tryout was. And so, man, I took like 2 weeks off and didn't touch a ball for a long time. And I just went to the tryout. Yeah, had some fun over there. And then, they told me that I would be a part of the practice squad. So that's how it all went down last year.
What was your welcome to the pros moment? Was it? I'd imagine something happened in practice. You went up against a guy. You're like, oh shoot, this is a whole nother level. Or did you have a specific kind of memory or moment that was really your welcome to the pros? So this is a whole nother beast here.
Yeah, not a specific moment, honestly, but really what I picked out early was that like everyone was faster. Like you could tell that there's levels to there's a big jump from the U Sport level to the pros. And yeah, I'm just trying to get over a screen and there's big fella Chad right there. Like I don't know how I was supposed to get through that screen, but um just the physicality is different, the speed is different, and yeah, I was just happy and fortunate enough to kind of get to experience that last year.
This is nothing new to you, though, right? I mean, you look at it's kind of funny that you technically walked onto the team last year through the tryout, but I mean, if
Yeah,
you take people through your journey, right, you
yeah,
show up to the University of Winnipeg as a walk on,
yeah,
right? The odds of a walk on making a team at the U Sports level is pretty slim. It happens. But to do what
yeah,
you did with that, you find your way into a starting role. Then you become a Canada West All Star. You set records, when it comes to, I think you even have the last one you set was the single game assists record in a single game for a Canada West playoff spot. I mean, what is it about this drive that allows you to, I guess, overcome these challenges and things that would be perceived as barriers?
yeah. I remember last week I was telling you that like ever since I was a kid, this is all I ever wanted to do. Basketball was really like my life. Like I remember as a kid, um, I had this basketball hoop in my basement, and it was a hoop where I could use like a Wilson ball. So every day after school, I get home at 3:45, eat, and then I'm in the basement playing basketball from 4 till it's time to go to bed. Literally every day with my cousins, we would just play basketball, and I just fell in love with it. Especially like growing up, I thought, I was getting better, um, and I was getting some recognition, some success playing with the Manitoba team, Team Manitoba that is, and yeah, ever since then, like I just fell in love with it, and I knew that like I was good enough to play at a high level, and it was just a matter of putting the work in and just believing in myself. Yeah,
Can you take us through that year before you got to the UW? For those that don't know, Shawn, I think you have one of the best stories out of any Winnipeg athlete
yeah,
going right now. I mean, you had a great career at Sisler. Whatever reason,
oh yeah,
don't get that scholarship, don't get that opportunity at a U Sports school. Then you're working
yeah,
at a rental car agency, working evenings. I'm imagining not having a blast doing that. We've all worked jobs that we haven't exactly
oh
loved.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
What was that year like for you working this job that wasn't maybe the best and it's kind of taking you away from basketball? Just kind of take us through what that experience was like.
To be honest, like it hurt me every day. Like obviously, I had some of my close friends playing at the UW at the time. Don Darrett, Denzel Sullivan, and Joseph Medrano, who are also Filipinos. They also went to Sisler, so they paved the way for younger people like me. And yeah, I'm just at work. I was working the evening shift, right? So obviously, you don't have time to do anything throughout the day. Like normally, my days would look like you go to school and then I'm playing basketball for the rest of the day. So that changed a lot. Didn't even have time to go hoop, go out with my friends and stuff like that. So that was tough. And I remember just being at work, just thinking about, man, what am I gonna do next year? Like I don't want to be doing this. Like there has to be some team or some school that I can go to and play for. So, but I feel like that was God's plan. Um, and He put me in a position, to kind of look at life in a different way. And I just felt like I was more hungrier after that.
I was going to say the Sisler High School, anytime they've been at a provincial championship, when I've been able to work it, is easily the loudest school. I wouldn't say it's the biggest
Oh yeah.
contingent, but definitely
Oh yeah.
loud and proud when it comes to Sisler. But, you just talked about that, the Filipinos that play basketball here, and that community is just, it's big here, A. But
Crazy.
basketball is like next level when it comes to
Oh
that
yeah.
community. I remember the Sea Bears saying just the Filipino community alone almost ensures that professional basketball would be a success. But then you look at your fan base. At
Oh
Canada
yeah.
West Championship, you had a whole section behind the UW. And for those that have never been to the U of M, it's a pretty big section. Like those sections
So,
go pretty
yeah.
high up. And Moranan had his own section. I mean, what does it mean to have that kind of support? When you're showing up to a gym and there's people there showing out to you and, really getting behind you like the way they do.
Yeah, man, it means the world to me. Again, I was telling you last week, like it's nothing new to me. Like from growing up, anytime I was on the road, my family would get together and they would live stream the game together. Um, so that just goes to show how supportive they are. Yeah, it just means a lot, man. It gave me a lot of juice for sure during the tournament. Even though we were on the road, essentially, um, truly felt like I was at home. So um, it's going to be fun. I know they're all looking forward to the Sea Bear season this summer, and it's just going to be exciting.
Anytime you play the crosstown rival Manitoba Bisons, I'm sure you're more amped up. You know, what I mean, everyone is on
Oh
both
yeah,
sides. But when you
oh
play
yeah,
them, is there an even bigger chip on your shoulder just knowing that hey, like you were a guy who was available and they never reached out, they didn't give you a shot? Is that even this many years later when you play them, do you try to stick it to them for that reason alone?
um, to be honest, that definitely goes in the back of my mind. Like I definitely think about that, but whenever we play the Bisons, you could tell like throughout the week that it's a much bigger game. And there's just a lot of excitement, nervousness, a lot of different feelings going into the week whenever we play the Bisons. And you have to know when you play against them, you got to lace up your shoes just a little bit tighter because Kirby Shep is a great coach over there. And obviously you have Simon, Mason, and the rest of those guys over there. And it's never easy against them. They're always a tough team to play, but whenever I see them on the schedule, it's definitely an exciting time for me.
And you look at the rosters right now. I mean, Manitoba lost one player going into next year. I don't think you
Yeah,
guys have lost anybody. I don't know if there's a graduating player on UW. So, I
no,
mean, you're technically going in. If you go back to last year, into this year. I mean, this is going to be 3 years of a very heated, tightly contested rivalry between the crosstown schools. What does that mean to you to
yeah,
be a part of this? I mean, when you look at basketball history in the city, where it is
oh
right
yeah,
now with the Sea Bears coming to town and both of the university programs being as good as they are, I mean, how fun is this? Do you take that in at all, knowing that this has been a pretty exciting chapter of basketball in Manitoba?
oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely exciting, and to know that on both sides, it's filled with a bunch of local players. So it goes to show how talented we all are from the city of Winnipeg, and yeah, it's always just exciting, and I think it's good for the city to have, I guess you could call it a rival, but it's good to have two really competitive schools go at it, and to know that there's obviously kids out there who are, trying to be where we are today. So to kind of impact the younger generation, I think it's great for both programs.
There was a time not that long ago, Shawn, when the Wesmen men's basketball team was kind of struggling. Like, they really were kind of falling behind in the Canada West, and now these past couple of years, you guys are back. Obviously, one of the best teams in the conference, one of the best teams in the nation. What has it meant to
Yeah,
you to again, just knowing your journey and everything, to not just be on this team, but be a big reason why Westman men's basketball is back, and again, now competing against some of the best programs in the nation after quite a few years where that wasn't really the case.
yeah, it means a lot, man. It's great to be recognized for a lot of the successes we were able to accomplish for the last few years. Um, but kudos to Coach Mike, though. Like Coach Mike Rainbow, I feel like he doesn't get enough credit. He's just an unbelievable coach. But not only that, he's just an amazing person as well. And he pushes us every single day. We literally get no days off. Like every day is a grind. And that's what I love about it. Like this is what I dreamt of being a part of. Um, like this is high level basketball, right? And Coach Mike really pushes us every day to kind of accomplish our goals. And yeah, and it just means a lot that I get to be at home again, um, and that we're a top contender in our conference.
Is there a benefit, having him around as an assistant coach? I know he's the head coach at UW, but being an assistant with the Sea Bears, does it bring a little more comfort as you go into this new chapter now where, you're likely going to have a bigger role this year? I mean, last year you were there, but this year you're probably going to hit the court and play a little bit. So how much does it help you having a familiar face with someone that's been so, impactful in your life on the bench with you?
Exactly. I think it's going to be extremely helpful. He's like another set of eyes for me. He's always helping me out. I'm always asking him a ton of questions on the sideline and stuff like that. So to have someone like him with me along board for the summer, I think it's going to be a beneficial thing for myself.
What about having someone like Jared Ogabemi Jackson with you as well, a veteran point guard, also from Winnipeg, another guy you can learn from?
Exactly. I'm just going to try to pick his brain every day and try to learn as much as I can. And I'm going to compete every day as well. Like he's probably one of the best, if not the best point guards to come out of the city of Winnipeg. So I want to be there to compete with the best of them. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to team up with him and learn as much as I can from him.
How do you think the professional game is going to elevate your game? And what I mean by that is, what do you think that you have maybe not been able to exploit at the university level that playing with professionals might allow you to exploit at maybe a higher level?
Yeah, I think obviously guys are much faster. Obviously, I'm a lot shorter than a lot of these other players, so I think my passing ability I think is going to be really helpful for me, and I think I'm gonna do the best I can to exploit that. I'm gonna try to be aggressive every day. Get in the lane. Obviously, I'm not here to score the ball. I'm not here to, check up all these shots. But what I can do and what I can help the team with is facilitating. So I think just getting other guys involved. I think that's what I'm gonna try to exploit.
Do you have a favorite Teddy Allen story from last year? We all saw what he did on the court and whatever, but you had a different perspective, practicing with him and whatnot. Do you have a favorite Teddy Allen story from
I
last
do
summer?
actually. I do. So we were in practice one day, and yes, we were at practice and we were scrimmaging. I remember I was on the sideline at the time, and so we're scrimmaging. It's pretty competitive. Guys are talking. You know how guys are. So I think his team. I think they have game point, and they just get a defensive stop, and Teddy's running down the floor, and I'm on the sideline, and he's like, "Watch this! I'm going for game. Like this is game." So a few seconds go on. Guys are passing it around, and Teddy gets the ball in the corner. Gets the ball in the corner, he pump fakes and he drives middle and he shoots this floater. But this floater almost touched the ceiling. almost touched the ceiling, and it just went straight down the net. Swish. And he said, "That's game. That's game." Teddy is different though. He's a different breed, man. He's a lot of fun to watch, and I'm just excited to share the court with him this year.
Yeah, I remember like when Teddy first hit the court in that first game, there's a couple of times where the ball leaves his hand and you think like, man, that's nowhere near the rim. Like he had no time to set it up, or it looks like it's a little soft and then nothing but nylon. Like
Boom.
it's
Yeah.
just he's so different in that sense. But no, I guess in that like the chance to play with guys like that now. I mean, now we're talking dudes that have played pro. You look at Teddy Allen, who's had success at the highest level in college, right? You still have another year left ahead of you. And here's a
Yeah.
guy who served the University of Connecticut their last
Oh yeah.
loss in the tournament. They've won back-to-back championships now, right? So, I mean, how excited are you not only to play with these guys, but how much do you hope to even like just pick their brain and hear what worked for them to elevate your game going into the next U Sports season or Canada West season?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to be a sponge, man, and just continue to learn as much as I can. And obviously, a lot of these guys have been through it all. Obviously, they've been top guys at their college or university, and a lot of guys have been playing professionally for a while. So, um, like one, competing with them every day is going to be beneficial for me. I'm going to know how to play with and against stronger guys, faster guys. So there's just a lot to take away from this going into my senior year next year.
Nice. Is it time, Taylor?
It's time.
You ready for target time, Shawn?
Let's do it.
Reminder, target time is the slowest rapid fire question sequence of all time. Taylor and I have about 5 questions each for you. First thing that comes to mind, might ask you for a little bit of context. Don't worry too much about it. It's all in good fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick things off. You've played in a lot of places. You've been to 2 national tournaments. You've seen a lot of gyms in your lifetime. What's been your favorite gym to play in?
Favorite gym
And it can't be
to play
UW.
in. Oh, I was just about to say UW. Favorite gym to play in, definitely the University of Victoria. Their school over there. They have a nice facility, and when we played them, that building was rocking, man. They had a lot of fans.
That's basketball royalty out there too. And then you're
Oh,
going
yeah.
head to head with Diego, who you'll be seeing again this year. He just signed with the Bandits, Diego Mafia. So that must add a little bit to it too, eh? When you're going up against another elite point guard like that. I mean, that's kind of the marquee matchup.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun going against them. And like playing at UVic last year in the playoffs, I remember they hit the first shot of the finals last year, and it was a 3. I swear to God, as I was dribbling down the court, the whole building was shaking.
Oh, wow.
I was like, it was that loud. So definitely my favorite place to play in.
Nice.
Shawn, if you had to make a starting 5 of guys from Winnipeg, you could put yourself at point guard. I'll allow that. You can't pick any fellow Sea Bears. So no Chad, no Simon, no Jared. Gotta think outside the box a little bit. Who's cracking your starting 5?
Okay. At the point guard, I'll have to go with Denzel Sullivan. Are you guys familiar with Denzel?
I'm not.
He also played at the University of Winnipeg. He was a Sisler legend as well. Damn, I might have to name all Filipinos, but at the 1, I'll go Denzel Sullivan. At the 2, I'll go Don Darrett. At the 3, I'll go Joseph Medrano. At the 4, I'll go Jonar Huertas. Legend, absolute legend. And at the 5, I'll probably go Noah Simpson.
Okay.
It's probably a lot of
was all Sisler guys?
You guys, they're actually all Sisler guys.
Okay.
He goes all Winnipeg and he takes it all Sisler on you. That's what he does, eh?
Those guys are legends over there.
The bond runs deep, eh? Sisler in your blood for life. All right.
Yes, sir.
What's your go-to pregame jam? And if you can't think of a particular song, is there a particular artist that you go to get you amped up for a game?
I don't have a particular song. But before games, I like to take it. Let's go Drake.
Drake?
Let's go Drake.
Safe bet. I like it.
Safe bet, yep.
If you could meet any NBA player, you just kind of pick their brain or play them one-on-one or whatever. If you meet any NBA player, who would it be and why?
Fred VanVleet, and he was undrafted, undersized guard, and he's accomplished a lot in the league. So if I was able to meet one NBA player, it would definitely be him.
Bet on yourself. I like it. Yeah, good
Exactly,
pick.
exactly.
This isn't my question, but what would your first question to him be?
My first question is, how do you play? How do you play through all the doubt? Obviously you're much smaller, so how do you deal with all that stuff?
Okay. Now you could actually go outside of basketball if you want, but who's your all-time favorite athlete?
Can I name two people?
Yep. I'll give you that.
Okay. They're both basketball players, and they're pretty broad. So, LeBron James and Michael Jordan.
Oh, I was gonna say Kobe. I thought you were gonna drop Kobe for sure. So yeah. LeBron. Okay. LeBron James and Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Okay. Target time question 1.1 or 2.2 here, whatever question I'm on. Who's the GOAT?
Michael Jordan.
Correct.
I agree with you. All right.
I thought you were going to name a Sisler guy, though, as your favorite athlete of all time. So I'm surprised you pivoted away from Sisler.
I could have for sure.
Man.
MJ's my GOAT.
That's fair. Well, I'll stick with the NBA theme for my next one. What's the best logo in the NBA? What team has the best logo, do you think?
The best logo? That's a good question. The best logo? Man, I'm just gonna go with my Raptors, man.
Okay, but do you go current Raptors or do you go throwback?
Oh, you gotta go with the throwback.
Purple dinosaur.
With the purple dinosaur. Yeah. Yes, you gotta go.
Now we're talking.
And their jerseys are tough too. So
it's so funny how nostalgia works, though. I remember when they first went away from the pinstripes. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of at first, like the Vince Carter, like when it was white, purple, and red, but like predominantly white, and they didn't have the pinstripes anymore. But I remember when the red jersey first came out, I actually had a Vince Carter red authentic Raptors jersey, and I got it right after he got dealt to New Jersey. Yeah, but then it gets like after a while though, you're just like you get used to it, and then nostalgia hits hard because people loved those jerseys when they first came out. Now there's such a callback for the old Raptors stuff. But yeah, I love the old Raptors, man. That's a great logo. All right, so what's your if you're not playing basketball, okay, and you don't have to be good at it right now, but if you could play another sport at a high level and you were just gifted the skill, what sport outside of basketball would you pursue?
Either volleyball or baseball, I think.
What is it about those sports?
Well, volleyball, I used to play in junior high and high school a little bit, and I wasn't a bad setter. I remember I think I won team MVP in grade 9.
Nice.
And I just had a lot of fun playing the sport. Obviously, it's a lot different than basketball, so there's that. And then baseball, I used to always watch my dad play baseball. My dad played baseball a lot when I was younger, growing up. And I used to play catch with like all my cousins. So yeah, baseball has been like a sport that I've always found fun.
What position do you think you'd play in baseball? For some reason, I'm thinking shortstop, but
yeah, definitely shortstop. Definitely.
Yeah, that's the quick one, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Favorite restaurant in Winnipeg? You know, you're one of the local guys on the team, so these American guys, these international guys on the Sea Bears, guys from other places in Canada, they're going to be coming to you for the recommendations.
Gotta play tour guide. You gotta play tour guide.
What's the go-to spot for you?
Favorite restaurant? I'll have to go with Johnny G's.
Yeah.
It's a good spot, man.
It is a good spot.
I mean, they have like specials going on throughout the week, and the steak and pasta is really just.
They got good chicken fingers too. Nice.
They got exactly.
Fingers.
Yeah, that's my go-to. Their honey dill sauce is good too.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
different.
I just had their Fat Boy Burger like not long ago, and it was phenomenal. But yeah, good call, man. I wasn't expecting
Johnny
that.
G's is good.
Great call.
Yeah,
Great
Close
call.
to Sport for Life Center where you guys practice as
exactly.
well. So yeah, you're
It's close
thinking.
by.
There you go. Good
It's
call.
close. It's close to where all the other guys live. So
Nice.
it'll be good.
All right, now my last one. What is your favorite pastime or hobby?
My favorite hobby?
Yeah, do you have anything outside of basketball that you kind of do that people might be surprised to hear?
Nothing really.
No.
I play a lot of video games.
What's your game?
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I'm on the game with my Wesmen teammates in my free time a lot. So
Who's the best on the team?
who's the best on the team?
Yeah.
I think I'm up there, but I think Malachi Alexander would be the second best.
Yeah.
And then there's Emmanuel Thomas.
Okay. All right. So that's like the Call of Duty All-Stars, the big three.
Yes, that's the big three.
That's awesome.
Okay, so to cap off target time, NBA playoffs are technically underway with the play-in games and whatnot. But Shawn, what are your predictions for the NBA playoffs? Who's making it to the finals? Who's going to win it all?
Man, I want to see the Lakers go to the finals, but obviously they're running into the defending champions in the first round, so that's going to be tough. But I think I hope Boston makes it out of the East, because if they don't, then I don't know what's going to happen over there. But I think Boston's going to make it out the East, and it might just have to be Denver again. So between those two, I'll say Boston. I'll take Boston.
Yes.
I'll take Boston. It's a big
Yes.
year for them. They got a lot of
Not what I want to hear, Shawn. Not what I want to hear.
I'm sorry. Who did you want? Who did you want to win this year?
Anybody
think
but
it's-
Boston, because Joey's a
Yeah,
Boston
anybody-
fan, and I don't want to listen to
Get
him
outta
brag about Boston winning an NBA title.
I think I'm on
so-
Joey's side.
Do
right
you
now.
understand how much turmoil my life has been since 2008? Just
Oh,
hoping for these
man.
titles.
Get outta here.
Kendrick Perkins is not injured in 2010. That's
You-
banner 18. I had to see them go to the finals a few years ago, only to get smacked. I mean, hey man, this is the year. I agree with Shawn. This is the year that they do it. They have to. They have to.
This has to, yeah. They have
Like
to
it's
be the year.
they've got their window is not closing by any stretch, but like they've been knocking on the door that you got to break it down, and they got to win like 4 of the next 5 years. That's my
Yes.
yeah. No,
Yes.
I appreciate that. I have no doubts that they get through to the final,
Yeah.
but it's the final that worries me because man, Denver's good.
Oh, yeah.
OKC's
The West-
good. Like the West is
stacked.
strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, that concludes target time. Shawn, thank you so much for the time. Congratulations. This is unreal to see the so much local talent coming into the professional scene, and especially at your age, man. Like university, between you and Simon still playing at the university level, getting this opportunity. I really hope that that it's everything that you want it to be, and you get everything out of it. But I hope you enjoy the season. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys a lot, and thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun.
That was the newest draft pick of the Winnipeg Sea Bears and Boston Celtics fan, at least for the playoffs. That's what I heard, Shawn Maranan. And I know that that doesn't sit well with you, Taylor. You're just this is hard for you. Thank you for going through this and wearing this the way you are. It's really upstanding for you to jump on this Celtics bandwagon and accept that everybody else is on that bandwagon too.
I was really enjoying that conversation with Shawn. Seems like a great guy. He's going to be a great addition to that locker room and just a great story that he has. But then he says he's rooting for the Celtics and he thinks the Celtics are going to win the NBA title.
Smart basketball guy, really.
That hurts.
I mean, yeah,
That
it's just a
hurts.
smart
I'm not
basketball
gonna lie
guy.
to
That's
you,
all I got
but-
of that. I said, this is a great conversation. And then I was like, wow, like he's just blowing my mind with how much, he knows about basketball with that Celtics drop and knowing who the favorites are and who's going to take home the championship this year. But no, I'm really looking forward to watching him in the CBL. I know I said it at the start of the podcast, but to see the opportunities these guys get and what Simon did last year, you and I have watched a lot of basketball and we followed the U Sports very closely. I watched pretty much every home game as the color commentator for the Wesmen this year that Moran played in. And, whole time I'm thinking this is his year to break into the CEBL after, sitting on the sidelines last year. He got that chance, and history will tell you anytime he's gotten this chance, he's he's made the most of it. So I'm very excited to see what he's able to do this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like we touched on it in the interview. Obviously, I mean, Shawn has such an amazing story. Like so many people would have given up. They would have kept working their miserable job or whatever. But like, no, like this guy did not quit. He loved basketball. He's like, screw it, I'm gonna keep working at this and hopefully get an opportunity. He gets invited to a as a Westman scrimmage. You know, nothing major or whatever. Gets his like toe in the door basically, and he ends up kicking that door down and goes from a walk on to literally the face of the program. And that really doesn't happen, especially in youth sports. Like it's usually pretty obvious who these teams are going to be building around and, you know, the big recruit coming out of Winnipeg and whatever. But he really went under the radar and he's making everyone other than the Westmen obviously pay for it. So really cool for him. He's also going to be the first, you know, Filipino, I believe, to be on the Sea Bears roster. That's really cool for our local Filipino basketball community that we know they'll come out strong to support him and the team like they always do. So
Already seeing the celebration on social media. Yeah, that's already huge.
yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, again, great story, great interview, and hopefully we'll have Shawn back on later in the year as well, and he can share some more Teddy Allen practice stories. That was a good
Yeah.
story with the sky teardrop there to call a game.
Could you imagine if they sold Winnipeg high school and U Sports or Canada West jerseys and the Maranan, Westman, and Sisler jersey? That'd be a hot seller. I feel like the Westmen are leaving a lot of money on the table, not marketing that Westman #5 jersey.
It's true. That's true.
Okay,
Actually,
and
and
he's got his own
something I'm
Westman.
curious
All
about.
what's that? Sorry.
No, you know, you'll finish your thought, then I'll.
I was going to say, in the all Sisler team, selling those jerseys now that we've got his all-time Winnipeg team, just straight Sisler guys.
That's right. Yeah. But no, what I was going to say is I'm curious when or if or how or if they're even allowed to or what, when the Sea Bears will start selling jerseys with players' names on the back.
That is something that
You know?
I've asked about, never really got a firm answer on. I think the tough part with that, Taylor, is that it's hard to ensure continuity. Like, even I
Oh,
don't think
super hard.
people understand even the fact that Teddy Allen is coming back to the Sea Bears, how big of a deal that is. For two reasons: that he came back to this team, but even that he came back to the CEBL. I mean, there are guys that, from I'm hearing, like EJ and Asike just not coming to the CEBL this year and needs a summer off. Jelani talked about how hard it was last year, to play from a full season, then come to a summer league and then go back to a fall winter league. It's a lot. So, I think that is maybe one of the big deterrents, but I agree with you, man. I think at least in the last year, and this isn't just a Winnipeg thing. I mean, Calgary did really well last year, and they've got a pretty strong fan base. Edmonton has had a strong fan base for years. They've had some players return. I think that's a thing that can happen, right? And I don't know if this is something that, if you've been to an NBA game, a lot of times what they do is the jerseys are on the racks, but they could actually press them there, right? So I don't know if that's an option, for a CBL team to have live pressings of the players that you want, or personalized jerseys, things like that. But I have to imagine that is something the league is going to look at as a whole, not just the Sea Bears. Of the jerseys. I mean, look how many Sea Bears jerseys you see now. I mean, every U Sports game I went to, there was at least a kid in a Sea Bears jersey, right? So, and you add to the collection, you get a Teddy Allen, and maybe next year you're buying the same jersey, but you're getting, Chad Posthumous on the back, or Simon Hildebrandt, whatever, Jared, whatever. It's an opportunity there for sure. And I think they're proving that it's about the time where we can, sell those jerseys. But no, you're right. I always thought, even I was at I hosted the Basketball Manitoba awards the other day. I was watching the high school game. They had the all-star game for the single A, double A, triple A, then just the quad A. And I'm looking at some of the jerseys, man. Like, when I saw Oak Park in the provincial championships at first, I'm like, oh, I hate this jersey. It's so hard to see the numbers. And then as I'm watching it, I'm like, man, these are like stellar throwback jerseys. Like, they're just great. And I'm like, and I think Zwieke makes a lot of them too. So I'm wondering, it's like, yeah, you know what? Just make a few extra, sell them on, to students, whatever, and people that are there for the fans. The school makes a little extra money, whatever. But no, it's one of those things where I think basketball is just getting more marketable in this city, particularly. So, yeah, it'd be something to see that. But I think the CEBL, you're right. I'd like to see them get on that sooner than later, because there's a lot of stars in this league that I think would move, not to NBA levels, obviously, but enough that it makes it worth it.
Yeah, I mean, year one would have been tough, obviously, and that's something you probably have to order and prepare for before the season tips off. And no one knew that Teddy Allen was going to that quickly become the face of the team, face of the league, really face of
Yeah.
the city for that summer. So yeah, I mean, it's easy to now say that that's something that would have worked. So maybe moving forward, who knows? They had 1,000,001 more important things to worry about and stress about heading into their first season than getting Chad Posthumous jerseys on the shelves or anything like that. But just kind of curious, maybe that's
Which
something
also
we'll
would have
see
been a
moving
hot
forward.
seller.
That too, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So
Well, maybe we
yeah,
have to fill the void. Maybe we just identified a void, and people want CEBL jerseys that are personalized with, players' names and numbers on the back. Maybe we just got to make Target Score Weekly jerseys and put our last names on the back and see how hard or how fast they sell.
and mine would automatically sell better than yours because people would see Allen on the back and they would assume it's Teddy
Mm.
Allen, not Taylor Allen. So those would be just flying off the shelf. So then we
Yeah,
wouldn't
you
even
know
be able
what?
to give away the Slattery jersey. So
No, you're right. I think you do have an advantage there. Except the smart fans are going to know they associate with greatness, and I associate with greatness through the Celtics. And they're going to say, you know what, I'm going to get a Slattery jersey because he knows what's what, and he knows what greatness is and ties himself to it. Where Taylor Allen just wants to push himself away from greatness. Like, thank God he has the Allen name because he associated by name with cousin Teddy. But overall, when it comes to choosing, can we trust him? I don't know.
hey man, when my Indiana Pacers beat up on these banged up Milwaukee Bucks in round one, put some respect on my name. That's
While if you're
just being in the
Indiana
playoffs is a
Pacers,
win for us Pacers fans. Damn it! So
tell you what, if your Pacers win and come out of the East, you can get me a Pacers conference finals or finals if they win the whole thing, and I'll wear that thing. And if the Celtics win theirs, I'm going to get you a Celtics shirt, and you're going to have to wear it on the podcast.
whoa! If the Pacers win the East or win their
Yeah.
first round,
No, win the East. They don't get a T-shirt for winning the first round. If you win the East, you
Eh.
get a conference final shirt. Or you can hold on and wait and see if they have magic up their sleeves and win everything. I mean, we're talking a dream world right now. That's not going to happen. So, that's why I'm asking. I'm getting your sizing now. I'm going to put a pre-order in on the championship jersey for the Celtics. And when they win, or not jersey, sorry, T-shirt. And when they win, you'll have one and you can wear it on the podcast and you can show it off proudly to everybody and show that, you finally succumbed to greatness and you understand what greatness is and why it's important to be a part of it.
Well, the Celtics won almost 20 more games than the Pacers this year. So this isn't exactly the most fair bet of all
Yeah,
time.
well,
But
don't feel bad
sure,
about it. They
whatever.
won 20 more games than most teams, really.
That is actually true. So,
Right.
yeah,
So, I
good
mean,
point.
the facts stack against you, Taylor. And I'm glad that you're noticing this. You're not letting your ego get in the way. And that's good. This is why people can trust you as a journalist.
Yeah, there you go. I try.
All
But
right.
that ends Jersey talk. That ends Pacers Celtics talk before we get confused for Bill Simmons with any more Celtics talk. Damn it.
Hey,
But hey man,
some stuff.
I'm excited for these next couple of weeks. We have a lot of
Huge.
awesome guests. We still have so many guys on the team that are new to the Sea Bears that
Dude.
we have yet to get on, but we've already talked to them and they're interested and we're going to make it happen. So stay tuned, before tip off next month. We're going to have some good stuff coming for you guys ahead.
A lot of guys down the pipe. Hoping to have Jared on soon. Same with Alex Campbell. It's gonna be a roller coaster from here on in. Strap in because this is where the fun starts. The season is just around the corner, and we're here every step of the way. Taylor, pleasure as always, pal.
Take care, man.
Thank you for listening to the Target Score Weekly podcast. To stay up to date with Winnipeg Sea Bears and CEBL news, as well as future episode releases, follow Joey and Taylor on Twitter and Instagram at TaylorAllen31 and at Joey Slattery TV. And wherever you're getting the podcast, be sure to subscribe to never miss an episode.